Hello, my friend. It's the Range Ronin. I sure appreciate you joining me for another At the Range chapter in the Range Ronin Chronicles. I sincerely hope that you enjoy it. So, let me open the book and we'll get going. Looking forward to the first range day with the G28, I loaded the 2 magazines that came with the pistol to 9 rounds each, simply to begin breaking in the magazines, and let them sit for a couple of days. That effort required the Uplula loading tool to be used, as the springs in these magazines are stiff. The first thing to do was establish what the G28 was telling me, and how I was going to respond to that. Then, I could move on to some Mozambique drills to see if I was going to be effective at all with the G28. As with the G26, the arch at the rear of the grip presses into my hand where I don't want it to press. Primarily, I am using 2 fingers to hold the grip, which does not distribute the pressure of the grip against my hand equally. In short, the grip does not fit my hand as well as the grip on the G45, G19, G17, and large Glock pistols such as the G21, G30, G22, and G20. The arch on the Glock subcompact pistols just rubs me the wrong way, like the panel of the View. Today's fodder was a Gia 95 grain FMJ and Cellier and Belo 92 grain FMJ. I also wanted to run a few 6-hour 90 grain JHP and Remington Ultimate Defense 102 grain BJHP to test running hollow point ammunition. With the target at 7 yards, it was time to play. The Glock G28 looks and feels like the G26 Gen 3 9mm version, with the exception of a milder felt recoil due to the 380 ACP cartridge. I found the sights to be acceptable for the up-close and personal range work that I was doing, although the polymer Glock sights are not among my favorite sights. If I decide to keep the G28, it will probably be outfitted with a better set of sights. The slide is stiff to operate and is much stiffer than comparable size 380 ACP pistols in the marketplace. If I decide to keep the G28, I will probably exchange the slide lock with an extended unit that allows for easier release of the slide for those occasions when I decide or need to use one-hand chambering. Accuracy is on par with other pistols of this caliber. What it comes down to is how well the operator can do their part. And I must admit that I am not the best of operators when it comes to subcompact and micro-compact pistols, regardless of caliber. The G28, even in my hands, is accurate enough for up-close and personal work. The takeaway is that if you are used to operating the G26 9mm pistol, the G28 will be very familiar in the hand while experiencing lesser felt recoil when shooting. Now, another comparison needs to be made. That is to be with the Glock G42, a 6-round single-stack 380 ACP pistol. The G42 is lighter and slimmer than the G28. I had to add a whole grip sleeve to my G42, something that the G28 does not need, as the girth of the grip is adequate for my hand. The grip length of the G42 is slightly shorter than the G28, but with magazine extensions, both feel about the same. The magazine capacity of the G42 is 6 rounds, which gives the magazine capacity win to the G28 with its 10-round capacity. However, the G28 is a bit more cumbersome to conceal due to its wider profile, but the G42 is a better pants pocket pistol. The G42 is a subcompact, as is the G28, and both shoot differently in my hand, with the favor going to the G28 due to its weight and size. A light and subcompact pistol like the G42 takes some range time to become proficient with it. Because of its size and trigger reach, I must concentrate on keeping those sights aligned while trying to keep a good grip on the pistol. With my finger length, trying to keep that pull straight back is a challenge. Normally, I find myself indexing the first joint of my trigger finger on the trigger and trying to pull straight back from there without flexing the rest of the hand. I definitely have to concentrate on the squeeze. The G42 is not a target pistol. It is made for up-close and personal shooting, and just pointing the muzzle at the target may be sufficient at very close range. At 7 yards, I was fighting for control of the G42 to hit what I wanted. I needed my usual Hogue finger groove slip-on grips for this little beast for help holding on to the diminutive grip surface available to me. Not a lot of .380 caliber is at my disposal. I had enough Remington FNJ and 95 grain JHP ammunition from Georgia Arms at 925 feet per second to get an idea of what the G42 is capable of. Using only the 6 rounds per magazine for this excursion, I wanted to limit my shooting to Mozambique drills once I got the hang of things G42. There would be no doubt, given the size and weight of the G25 over the G42, that this is a soft shooter of the .380 ACP cartridge, and, as compared to shooting the G42, I would have better control over the G25, given that its size is comparable to my G19 and G23. I am putting some standard range level .380 ACP through the G25 today, and also some Underwood 90 grain XTP JHP and a few 102 grain Remington Ultimate Defense BJHP for defensive ammunition testing. I'll let you know what I use when, during the range session. Having only 2 magazines does put a crimp in the shooting session, but it is what it is. Should I consider the G25 as a viable carry companion, additional magazines will be located as quickly as possible. So, let me get on with today's session. While there are many thoughts rolling through my cranium, they all fade into questions, the first of which is why, and the last of which is why. While I find it great that a pistol that has only been available overseas is now made in the United States, why this pistol? That is simply a double-stack version of the Glock G26, but of lesser caliber. And why does it not have some of the updated features of the Gen 5 series of pistols? With the exception of the NDLC coding, why did Glock stay with a past generation, the Gen 3, rather than upgrading the G28 to Gen 5 standards with a Gen 5 barrel, ambidextrous slide lock, coil spring takedown lever, and reversible and larger magazine lock and release button? Just why? In a way, it is easy to say that the G28 is a quality pistol chambered in .380 ACP. With that said, I am going to end this review, but I want to end it with a question. Could we see the G25, a .380 ACP with magazine capacities of 10, 12, 15, and 17 rounds, in a platform that is very similar of the G19 being made in the U.S.? The G42 is an interesting little thing, svelte in my hand, but capable of launching a projectile capable of stopping a threat with careful handling on my part. How many rounds stopping the threat might take, I can't answer. But then, I could not provide an answer for many defensive cartridges. Stopping a threat just has too many variables to sum up in one sentence. Stopping a threat may just take brandishing the pistol, and that is ideal. However, should things turn nasty, it is up to your capabilities with your natural tools that you have in your hand, physics, and the physical and mental condition of the assailant that determines the outcome. I don't discount the .380 caliber for defensive use, and I do believe that the G42 is an excellent tool to put it through. Refuse the old adage that a .380 is better than nothing. With a G19 frame housing 15 rounds of .380 ACP rather than the G42 single stack with its 6-round magazine capacity, or the G28 double stack, also now manufactured in the U.S. with its 10-round magazine capacity, and like the G26, the G25 brings another dimension to the Glock lineup that is available, even if for a limited run in the U.S. With advantages in cartridge technology, and while some still state that the .380 ACP should be the minimum caliber for self-defense, the .380 ACP is certainly not a wimp cartridge, can outperform the .38 Special in some cases, and is lighter in the felt recoil department over the .38 Special and 9mm. When I did a review on the G44, the .22 caliber version of the G19, I remarked how one could train with the G44 to keep from shooting more expensive 9mm ammunition. I could say the same for the G44 relative to the G25. Why shoot expensive .380 ACP ammunition that can be more costly than 9mm ammunition when you can train with a same-size pistol, like the G44, for far less expense? With that said, the difference in felt recoil between the G25 and the G44 is far less than with the G19, simply because the .380 ACP is a soft recoiling cartridge to begin with. For those with compromised hand strength, or for those who like the Glock platform and would like an effective but minimal defense round, G25 may be the perfect companion. 15 plus 1 rounds of good 380 ACP ammunition, nothing to scoff at. Hornady Critical Defense 90 grain 380 ACP FTX is at somewhere around 1,000 feet per second. I believe that would serve one well. I will say, however, that because of the recoil spring rate, racking the slide is not as easy as with the Ruger Security 380 or the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. But the G25 is much more stable in the hand due to the longer grip length, and the 4.02-inch barrel is not a hindrance when it comes to velocity of the round. Overall, the G25 is just another Gen 3 Glock pistol, just another sibling like the G42 and G28 to the parents of the G19 and G17, but I do give it high marks. With 15 plus 1 round capacity, compared to the 6 rounds of the G42 and 10 rounds of the G28, I think that the G25 is a solid contender in the 380 ACP handgun world. Overall, I am very pleased with the G25. I am pleased that it is now stateside, and I think that you would be pleased with it.